Hello to everyone. So nice to see you here. Olesia will also join shortly. And today we will talk about how to launch and implement successfully brand ambassador programs. So we have experience during the almost 5 years in Estonia and now also Nordics. And we will give you some examples and ideas about the most common questions, like about toolbox and about how to motivate those different ambassadors. And we will also record this meeting because some of our participants have asked us to send the recording. And we would also be really thankful if you could turn on your cameras because we have also some additional questions for you related to the toolbox, maybe what you have been using and so on. But to start with, just let us know if there will happen something with the audio or video, and you are more than welcome to ask questions during the whole session. We will keep it in 1 hour exactly, and hope that you will be active and enjoy this afternoon.
Hi, and I'm great to virtually meet you all. As Evelyn said, just the beginning of this year, we started to do these webinars regarding employer branding and employer advocacy. Also in English, we have been doing this for quite some time in the Estonian market as well. And if we haven't met, then I'm Olesia Sauer. I'm a Go Marketing strategist, also executive and NLP coach, and pretty much all of my work evolves around bringing, finding and maximizing the potential of individuals and of teams. And this is also the way that we see employer advocacy. It's not only about employer branding, but it has a lot to do with empowering people, maximizing their potential, and then attracting new talented people who want to work for the company because of the people who are already there.
And my name is Evelyn. So during the past 15 plus years, I also have been really passionate about branding, corporate branding, personal branding, and also now employer branding. So we started with Olesia 5 years ago with Estonian companies, and really quickly, because there's quite many international companies here as well, we launched also a program in English, and now we have started already in Nordics with Swedish and Finnish market. And we also have maybe a different approach related to employer branding, because we also have written a book about personal branding, and we see the advantage if you also include personal branding as a growth strategy for your employees, that then there will be a really good win-win opportunity for both. And here are all our topics. So we started with those English webinars in January already, and of course you can also find the recordings in YouTube. We can send you later the link as well. And today we will talk about everything you need to know about employer branding, and the next theme will be integration, how to integrate the corporate, personal and employer branding. And the main goal and the main reason why we are doing it is that we see every day that there are so many HR talents who are struggling because nowadays on their desks they don't have anymore only HR and recruitment topics, but they have to know quite a lot about branding, about social media, about marketing, about different tools. So there's quite a lot what HR people have to know, and this is also the reason why we're happy to share our knowledge, and of course if we can help in any other way, then we're all also always happy to help. But this hour we shortly give you an overview what we will talk about during our next webinar, and then about the specific toolbox, how to form those habits for brand ambassadors. A little bit we talk about fears and how to overcome them, and then how to implement a specific action plan. So this 360 degrees approach is mainly because different people approach every day to us. So there are recruiters who need best talents. So they are really interested in employer branding. Then we help also branding and marketing experts with corporate branding, and then we have different experts in their field who want to develop their personal brand. And quite often people see it as one road only, so to only develop this one particular theme in their corporation, or also as their self-development plan. But actually it's really useful if corporations and organizations see it as a whole. So to see the whole process and also have a strategic approach to a corporate employer, and also personal branding of the employees. And of course, every day we see also from our customers that it's really hard to motivate this single person from your team or company or organization to stand out, to find the motivation. And all we definitely know that the more active brand ambassadors each organization have, the more visibility there is, and there's so many benefits for the company. But quite often people forget how to actually motivate also those single people, and how to give them the tools, how to talk about themselves, and how to present themselves to others, and what could be the benefits for them. So mainly we talk about employer brandings, then we talk about different goals like finding the best talents, or saving in recruitment costs, and so on. But there could be really many positive sides and goals also for single employees. For example, we have when we wrote our book about personal branding, and now also we are writing about employer branding. So there are so many studies actually that show that job satisfaction, you can really increase it by developing the personal brands of employees. And how can you make it? Actually, everybody wants to develop, everybody wants to grow, and now it's so much also related related to mental health, to know what's your passion, to find a stronger meaning in your work, and also define your superpowers and to make the most out of it. It's good for the company because those people are more productive, and it's good also for the environment, for the team, and also for those people. And then they start to also think what's more in for them. Maybe they want to, they have to have like also egoistic goals, like maybe they want to have a good career. Maybe at one day they want to develop themselves in a different field. But the most important is to find out the goal and then to think how to differentiate themselves. So here also we see there's so many similar cars, but how do you find your superpowers, and personal branding is really a good tool for it.
Yeah, and if we're talking about engaging employees to be active brand ambassadors, we need to be talking about creating a habit, and even more than that, making employee advocacy part of the culture, because quite often we see that employer branding initiatives are launched as a project, and that there is a selected elite group of brand ambassadors. But such approach really means that there is a lot of potential which is untapped into, and then global initiatives, big international corporations are more and more moving into the direction of employee advocacy 2.0, so to say, where we're not talking just about engaging employees in employer branding initiatives, but more and more engaging employees as thought leaders. And in terms of organization, it all starts from creating interest in people towards such initiatives, and helping people to find out their personal reason to be actively involved. And this means that people, when they have interest towards this topic, they need to be trained, and they need to be trained based on their needs, whether those are technical skills, or they also need to get to know themselves better and to understand their role as an employee, their role as a brand ambassador, and also align it with their personal career goals. Then a company needs a strategy, and also each brand ambassador needs a strategy of how to apply those acquired skills, so that it would work as a goal which has been achieved through concrete action steps from every individual in the company. And we, with all of those brand ambassador programs, we see that they really start to work when people make it a habit. And this habit should be based on the nature of a person, and we can't expect all of people working for a company to be influencers. We can't expect every person who is joining employee advocacy program to start creating content, but we have different types of people in organizations. Some of them are better at networking, they are natural at building relationships. Some of them are learning a lot and reading a lot, and they could be very good collaborators, sharing acquired knowledge. And then we have a certain group of people who are already perhaps active on social media, who want to learn and grow and share their knowledge, who are already potentially to step on the stage and become a thought leader or an influencer. So the better the company from the very beginning understands what type of people are working for the organization, and easier it is to create a mix of brand ambassadors who would fill each of those vital roles, but also to customize trainings accordingly, because quite often people who are interested in brand ambassador programs might need technical skills, but at the same time they need in-depth self-discovery sessions in order to find the topics and the values of the company that mostly align with their personal goals. And we see it as a way to increase the employees' engagement, which is one of the most well, the biggest problems at the moment are that people are actively disengaged from work. In fact, 85% of the global workforce is actively disengaged from their work activities. And we see that brand ambassador programs, if they build with a focus on employees, can actually help to solve this problem, because it empowers people, it gives them tools and resources to become thought leaders. But we also have to take into consideration now that this is a process, a long-term process, a marathon, not a sprint, which means that we have to help our people to become thought leaders, to become content creators. And once again, the creation of the content, articles or publications from the people themselves is just the top of the pyramid, and not all of them would reach the peak. And also the ones who have the potential to do that, they need training, they need support, and they need time to develop those skills. So we're talking about getting on stage and starting to share your expertise and becoming a thought leader in your company and also in the industry. It needs a lot of preparation, both technical, knowledge-wise, but as well as psychological preparation. So if the company starts with brand ambassador programs, identifying different types of people who are willing to become brand ambassadors, and it's also important to give them appropriate tools and start to create the voice of the company step by step. So in quite many cases, a lot of people are not ready to start sharing their insight on social media from the very beginning, but they would be ready to actively socially listen to the conversation around the topic that they are interested in. They would become more and more engaged on social media, connecting with other thought leaders. They would be ready to take a step in sharing the content what is created by other employees in the company or other respected thought leaders. They would learn to curate content based on their topics of interest and based on their values. They can grow their networks on social media, having their own personal goals in mind, and by doing that, expanding the reach, visibility, and credibility of the message of the company. And then once they're ready, some of them would be willing to take a role of thought leaders. But along this journey, what they really need, irrespective of their position, be it just a specialist or top manager, they all need support from the company in a way that small babies are learning to walk, and we can also regard the brand ambassadors as those small babies who just are taking the steps into the unknown. And one of the ways to successfully launch brand ambassador program, but also keep it going is to apply the way that we learn, to apply techniques that help our employees to create positive habits. And it all starts with helping each and every person in the company, the smallest step that would be found today at this moment where this person is on his or her personal journey. It also requires dedication from a person to start and continue doing the best job possible as a brand ambassador. It also requires repetition of steps and being consistently visible and present for the selected audiences. It also requires that people receive positive feedback and encouragement, because the more we see positive examples from other peers who are doing an excellent job as brand ambassadors, the more we see best cases of how people in our organization can develop their strong personal brands, how they can contribute to the visibility of the company and help the company to achieve their goals. And more people would want to come along and join the programs. And this consistency and really keeping the ball as, in the air is one of the most important things. And if we're looking at different programs and with different feedback from people who are involved in brand ambassador programs, then one of the most important things that they point out is that they want and need regular meetings, and they need continuous development, continuous training to keep going and to keep their motivation. We pretty much can say that that in this respect, if we're looking at brand ambassador programs as a way to build the brand awareness, to achieve the company's results, not only looking outwards from the company perspective, but also looking at the development of our people, we can say that it's all about the consistency, consistency in the program, about the consistent involvement which brings in the results. So we want our people engaged, we want our people to take small baby steps on a regular basis. And we can see that 5 minutes or 15 minutes of small actions can result in growth of networks over time, in building the visibility for the company. Because we all know from different researches that people, our employees, have much bigger networks than the companies do. Their networks are more involved, they are more engaged, which means that content which is shared through the employees' personal networks gets on average around 561% more visibility. But our experience in Baltics and Scandinavia with just a handful of brand ambassadors actually shows that the growth of visibility and brand awareness of the company is even more than that. Just one of my customers last year with just 9 employees on LinkedIn grew the visibility of the company by 1,140%. So there is a lot of untapped potential, but really tapping into this potential means that we take into consideration the needs and goals and the personal meaning of employees employees, and we make it as easy as possible for them to help themselves, and by doing that, help the company.
So, and also maybe the most popular question what we get when we talk about our different customers about employer branding and also strategies for them is about toolbox. So, is there something that you can recommend for our employees and our organization to use? And we here give you some examples what we have used for really different organizations, for smaller one, bigger ones. And if you also have some ideas or experience what you have used or heard, then please you can also add it to the chat, and we can also talk about it then as well. But of course, one tool. This is the reason also why we wrote our book about the personal branding as a really practical step-on-step guide for employees. Is the book itself, but there's so many other tools, really simple ones where you can actually start. So of course, if you are in the phase just implementing or your employer branding program, or even if you have done it for a year or few, then there's definitely a need from time to time, and definitely in the start, in the really beginning, to know where you stand, like what's the actual situation. And of course you can monitor, but you may not be like so maybe specific and know all the answers by yourself. So it's better to use different tools. And why do you want to know the situation is because it has to be like authentic. As we talk about personal brands, then it's easy to understand why you have to be authentic and why you have to be yourself to be successful and to be credible. But for organizations and companies, it's actually the same way. So people actually see through it when it's not authentic, when you maybe share those amazing things, what is happening inside the company. But when you then get all those talents who start their first day, and they pretty soon realize that it's not the case, then you just have wasted the time and energy. So first of all, of course, you have to monitor the situation inside the company. And of course, one option is to get feedback from employees at the moment. Also really important is to interview everyone who is leaving, definitely. But to have like maybe this regular feedback, we have also some automated tools what we can suggest you. But the easiest what everybody can afford and use is, for example, SurveyMonkey. Definitely there are better solutions, but here today also we suggest easiest steps just to begin, and then later on you can implement something more fancier, for example. And of course, when you are launching employer branding programs, then you don't have all ideas yourself, even if you're really creative. So it's good to know, so Lacey already talked, different people in the organizations, and also to invite them to help you with this program. And also it's good to maybe discuss together who are the people who you really want into the company. So of course you can think that yes, we need programmers, or we need the best digital marketers, but which personal traits they really need to have, like who are those people that really fit into your team, what are their values, what should be their should they like be like. So the more in more details you know about those people who do you want in your team, the easiest it is actually to really find them, and also then to motivate them. And the other thing what's definitely what you cannot with what you can't start the employer branding program is valid value proposition for those personas, or for those people, and also definitely for those who are already in the company. And this is also what we see quite often, that companies and organizations take maybe outside consultants, or maybe also a small group, maybe small management group to create it. But actually we suggest to interview as many colleagues as possible, and also from really different fields, and also to ask opinions from the really bottom till the top, so that you can have like a really a different approach. And yeah, one option is to brainstorm, or do it also in a survey form. Then as I started this webinar, I told you that nowadays it's so difficult for HR people who are dealing day to day with marketing challenges in addition to their everyday tasks. So we decided to add here also a few marketing tools that really can help you. So if you need to design anything, or even to create a visually really nice value proposition, then Canva is a super easy tool, and also you can do it with a free of charge version quite a lot. So this helps you as a HR professional to create whatever you need to start with. So of course later on again you can do it more professionally. You can ask for help, or definitely also marketing team can help you. But just to start with, this is something really easy to start with. And of course you also need motivations for brand ambassadors. So this is what we have been doing quite often in different companies, inspirational seminars. But the most important is that it's not only one in the beginning, but you have like a series with different teams, and also different research and studies show that the more you really want to help your people to grow, to develop, the more happier they are. So these are we have really a big list of different themes. If you need them, we can share them with you as well, from really how to publicly speak, or how to share with impact, or just how to tell a story, or how to maybe form your personal value proposition. So there's like actually so many things what you can do regularly for your employees. And of course if there are bigger teams, then it's possible to have it also as a recording or as a webinar, and you can develop like a virtual program from it as well. And to keep it going, and to have it running, so you need also definitely a plan. And if you don't have your own tool, then again, one project tool what we have been using is, for example, Asana, where you can put different tasks and also create teams and put there some deadlines for yourself for different people, and maybe also involve marketing department and different other departments. So this is also something good for a brand ambassador program to start with, and to have some timeline, and it's super easy to use. And the other option, if you don't have your own tool, is also Slack. So this is also really easy to use, a little bit different option as Asana, but mainly to have there a specific channel about for brand ambassadors, and to keep this they're involved, and maybe give them feedback and give their examples. And so it depends actually from the organization and from the people as well, but they have been using, and we have examples where people actually use Facebook groups, or they have some internal tools, but Slack is also one easy option. And how then to manage all this content. Of course, the content has to come with in cooperation with marketing department, but also from those thought leaders who you are developing, but to give them really simple tools in the really beginning. So if you haven't done it yet, then definitely you need a really good photo shoot from your people, and we really recommend that it will not be just maybe really strict and professional photo shoot, but also in the really easygoing working environment, so that it's also in line with all of their personal brands, and they maybe are happier to share it than just a really strict professional photo with the same background and so on. So this is also something that you can think about. Help them also with the hashtag. You can then together create one hashtag that you are using as a team and for this program, and it's easier also then to track all those different content posts in internet. And definitely also what we usually see that is lacking are examples. So you can find examples from your own field in different countries, but also from other fields. So you can create content about your team, your customers, different experiences, and so on. But there are so many companies who do it really well. Just ask the help from the marketing department, or maybe from brand ambassadors themselves, that every month everybody comes up with some examples from different field, and then it's easier to find inspiration and motivate them to share also the content. And definitely also need some measures and to do some surveys at once in a while to know how is it going. So of course one tool is Google Analytics, what you can if you have some specific goals or targets what you want to achieve, then this is one tool what you can use. But this maybe gives overview about visibility and more in companies for companies goals. but to see how happy and how satisfied your employees really are, then there are definitely also many different tools. One what we have been using with few customers is, for example, MotiCheck. So this is a daily, how do I say, like daily monitoring tool with a few questions every morning, and you can have like for team leaders update like every week that how is their team doing, what are the what are the main challenges, and it's really in real time, so you don't need to wait for the answers. And as we all the time read from different books that it's so important to see through the whole customer journey. So it's the same with the employee journey. So employer branding is something that you already have to think before you recruit, of course. Then during the interviews, there's quite many things that you can do already there to get some feedback about how the company is presented, what feelings it gave them before already, how they found it, and what tools did they use to find these recruitment ads, and so on. And then also it's really important to pay attention to onboarding. So the more time you put there, the more certain you can be that the people also stay. And also don't forget the people who are leaving. So to always think that that satisfied employees, maybe they tell about your company to 10 friends, but really unsatisfied employee can tell it about to 100 friends. So it's really important to maybe be sure that everybody will leave really happy. And but also you have to take in consideration the fears.
Yeah, we see that in quite many cases, especially in big companies, when there are good tools involved, and the focus is too much on the tool rather than on employer advocates. And if we want our people to get to the next level, share with impact, and become thought leaders, we have to talk about fears. We have to acknowledge potential fears and limitations that perhaps don't even acknowledge themselves, because using social media, being the face of a brand on social media for quite many people, for majority of people, in fact, is a zone of the unknown, and there are a lot of subconscious fears that are stopping amazingly talented professionals, amazing experts to, for example, sharing on LinkedIn or posting their thoughts. And the better company acknowledges that there are potentially many fears, then easier it is to help people to overcome them, because brand ambassador role and thought leadership role is something new, and it is quite often associated with the same fear of public speaking. As we know, a lot of people have a fear of public speaking, which is among top fears that we have, and social media and posting on social media is actually the same. So in the same way that companies are doing media trainings for key people, spokespeople of the company, in the same way people in the company who want to be more visible as brand ambassadors not only need technical skills of how to make a post or how to create a video, but also what to do to acknowledge and overcome the fear. People in such type of programs are afraid about what their colleagues would think, what their acquaintances and friends would think if they start to share posts about the company and their job. And quite often there are so many questions and not enough answers that it's easier not to do anything, which is one of the reasons why companies, even with the highest levels of satisfaction in the company, with the most sophisticated brand ambassador tools, still struggling with people actually sharing the content in their networks, not talking about the next level of posting and creating content themselves. And it's also a fear which is directly related to the imposter syndrome and perfectionism, which are the highest among the top level professionals. So the more we know about the subject, the more we realize that there are so many things that we still don't know, and it stops people from sharing their knowledge, sharing their ideas. And of course, there is a fear that this would be additional work. There would be a lot of comments, and people would have to deal with comments, including negative comments on social media. And last but not least, a lot of employees are afraid of what their boss would think about being active on social media. So there are a lot of questions that regular employers, regular employees bombarded by. Many of them are subconscious. Among them, what to post, how to post, what would others think, and or the underlying question which needs to be acknowledged is that whether I am enough to be seen as a representative of the brand, to be the person who takes the stage and then talks about the topic. But we also have to take into consideration that the majority of people working for the company, in fact 98%, already own social media channels, and 50% of them already are posting something about their company and their job. The only difference really is that in most cases they don't understand and don't acknowledge what a regular post from their free personal time, what effect it can have on their personal brand, what effect it can have on the company brand, because nowadays really the link between the company and a person is just a couple of clicks away. Just a couple of days I read a comment on a post on LinkedIn discussing whether it is possible to limit the usage of social media by employees. For example, if a company has a hybrid or remote work, and how to what attitude should the company take if, for example, a person is posting pictures from the beach during the working hours. Well, I believe that nowadays not a single company can really limit the usage of social media by their employees. We can have clear social media strategies, we can have clear social media instructions, but social media in its essence is meant to be a communication channel between people, not between companies. So we can't force people not to post about their personal life on their personal social media channels. But what we can do, we can help to educate our people. We can help them understand the role of their personal brand for their personal goals, the role of their presence in social media, in the overall brand awareness of the company. And what really works are examples, inspiring examples of how to do things, inspiring people just like you who are using social media to be visible, be approachable to their networks. Because not a single employee wants to harm the company's brand intentionally. But what we can often see from personal, so to say, posts and comments is that a lot of people don't have a clear connection between my own activities on social media and the effects that it has on my professional life and the effects that it has on the company. So it is really the role of the company to help people to acknowledge this, to help them map their fears, to review together with people in the company, the digital footprint from the perspective of the potential customers or potential partners or potential talents who would want to join the company, to also map the way that your people are using digital media at the moment and find the ones who have the potential to become thought leaders, to map the ones who are ready to become connectors and build their networks and then get it to the next level. But also to help each person find the interests and topics that truly resonate with them, so that they would be talking about things that interest them. They would be talking about things that are of interest to the company, so that the message would be authentic, the voice would be diverse, but those voices would be talking about same thing, and the messaging and the brand would be going into the same direction. It's also important to help people to identify their strengths and play to the advantages. So in your company, you would have people who are better on video, you would have people who are better in writing posts, you would have people who could be excellent podcast hosts. So identifying and then training accordingly this mix of brand ambassadors would really help to get the message of the company to the next level. So we're not really just expecting our people to share how awesome their job environment or what did they do with their employees on some company retreats, but really taking this to the next level and building thought leaders from your own employees. And of course, keeping it going and then giving the feedback, positive feedback, and reinforcing the positive results, and then holding the hand of your employees along the way, because it is really a process. And in the companies who are very successful in employee advocacy, more and more talk about the fact that employee advocacy and employer branding is not a standalone thing. It's a part of culture, and it has also to be a part of the onboarding process. So we have to understand how people are becoming thought leaders. It all starts from the empowerment, from the decision to be an influencer, from taking a stand and taking a stage and saying, yes, I'm willing to talk about this topic because it is of personal interest, it is of personal relevance to me, but also giving the feedback and helping people to learn to reflect and utilize coaching and other techniques, but also giving strategy and models of how to become an influencer, and at the same time equipping your people with tools and techniques, and most importantly helping them to practice, to take small steps, to get feedback and to practice and practice again. Because not a single person that we now would consider as a thought leader or an influencer was born as such with big audiences, but they have gone there, and this process can be modeled, and we can strategically apply this modeling process into our companies as well, so that our people become thought leaders in the industry, and by doing so, the company also grows its status, not just as a brand, but also as a brand which is a thought leader in the industry. And there is a lot of potential to amplify this online. And it has to involve people from different parts of the organization, from different levels of the organization, because we mostly trust people who are similar to us. So if we want our brand voice and brand message to reach different target audiences, and we want to make sure that if we want to talk to developers, then developers talking to another developer. If we want to talk to investors and strategic partners, then we want also our CEO to take the leadership and show and lead by example. And in doing so, we are really empowering our people to be the best. And it has the benefits not only in terms of marketing, which is one of the most important reasons why companies started employer branding programs, but it also helps people to be more satisfied with their daily activities, be more satisfied with the job that they are doing, and it contributes significantly to the overall well-being of people. Because nowadays we can't really be talking just about employee experience or brand ambassador experience in the company, but we really have to look at it from a higher perspective and be talking about human experience in terms of the working environment, and how we can create a win-win solution for all the parties involved.
So, and in addition to giving good tools and inspiration, you also need focus and action plan. And of course, what we have seen, what's maybe the biggest challenge that implementing a brand ambassador program for many companies and organizations seems like a big challenge, like a big elephant, but how to deal with this challenge is to take really small steps, to start with just like the first steps to try to find these first brand ambassadors and to start with them. And then you don't have to have the perfect tools at first, and you don't have to know everything at first, but just to start with it, and then continue. And you can have smaller goals and you can have bigger goals, but just stick to the plan and keep the focus. And of course, there are many things each day at your desk. If you're HR people, then you definitely have from the morning till the evening many fires you have to then deal with. But to have this one one thing that you definitely need to do every day is a good example how to start that. No matter what, is it like 15 minutes or half an hour, what you can give for this project every day or even every week. So it gives you quite good already start. And of course, as also with the personal branding, also with employer branding, consistency is the key. And we see that every person and every organization want to, of course, have the perfect tools and the perfect action plan and the perfect brand ambassador team. But actually, you don't need much to start with. You can start with really small team, and then if they inspire others, then you can have a bigger team and so on. You don't need everything to be ready in the really beginning, but just start, and then you can develop this project. And it always helps if you have from the really beginning already some goals, also how to measure your success, and maybe now a small inspiration how we usually do it in different companies and organizations.
The way that we see our the brand ambassador programs is that we have a clear audit, and we have a clear understanding of where we're going and how we're going to measure that. We put a lot of focus on training and consistent training, but at the same time, company needs to have a framework and a clear strategy and action plan, which can be adjusted according to the needs of the company and brand ambassadors. And it's very useful for companies to understand what resources do they have internally, and what external support do they need. And then once again, training, which is the key to developing and empowering the employees. And the way that we see the best approach to the trainings is really starting with a plan, with an inspirational program and then a pilot program, and then putting together a series of workshops for the ambassadors. And it helps to look at it from the perspective of how people learn, how people create habits. So we regularly put together the programs which have three components to them: inspirational trainings to people in the company alongside different phases of their development, a lot of practical how-to workshops which give people practical tools, but also it is very important to have dive in very so to say, very personal, very deep sessions for people to understand who they are and what do they really want and what they stand for, and then what are their values and how are those values integrated with the values of the company. So this is briefly the way that we see the context of employer advocacy. We take a strategic 360-degree approach to that, and this approach is based on the practical feedback from the participants of the programs, but also from integration of different tools and also different areas like personal branding, like employer branding, like coaching and marketing. So we really hope that this brief webinar inspired you to look at employer advocacy from a bit different perspective. As we've mentioned in the beginning, we are doing those webinars once a month, and even we watch all of the previous ones, and then we hope to see you next month. So thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely afternoon. See you next month.
Bye-bye.